In this movie, I'll show you two ways to straighten a crooked image. First, I'll show you how to work with the Straighten tool, which has the advantage of being included along with the Crop tool. And then I'll show you a better but less obvious method that involves the Ruler tool. I'll go ahead and switch over to this image, which features a view from the London Eye. And notice that I'm immediately seeing this vertical crop boundary here, and that's because my ratio is still set to 7:8. To get rid of that, I'll go ahead and click on the Clear button, but notice that that does not immediately restore the crop boundary. What I have to do is press the Escape key and then click inside the image again to make the crop boundary as large as the image. Now notice that the image is crooked, so you can see the horizon line is higher on the right than it is on the left. So obviously this image needs to be straightened, and you can do so using this Straighten tool that's located up here in the options bar. And to get to it, just go ahead and click on the tool like so, and then drag inside the image. And you can, by the way, drag along a vertical element if you want to, but it's generally easier to drag along the horizon line. Now, while this tool is very easy to use, and it comes with a heads-up display, as we're seeing right there, so I can see that I'm dragging a line at an angle of about 2.7 degrees. Problem is, you get one shot at it, and then Photoshop goes ahead and sends you back to the Crop tool, which means you can go ahead and make additional modifications. For example, if the image isn't rotated the way it needs to be, you can go ahead and drag outside the crop boundary like so. Now, of course, I've made a big mess of things, so I'm going to select the Straighten tool once again, but I'm going to do so using a special trick. You can access the Straighten tool anytime you're using the Crop tool by pressing and holding the Control key here on the PC or the Command key on the Mac. And notice when you have that key down, you will see the Straighten tool cursor, at which point you can go ahead and drag along that horizon line once again. And as you can see, this time the heads-up display is showing me a different value because I'm dragging at a different angle. And after a release, Photoshop goes ahead and makes that horizon nice and perpendicular. Now, if you ever need help, by the way, when you're dragging outside the crop boundary, notice as I drag, I can see that grid right there, which can be very helpful for measuring exactly what is and what is not level. If you want to see all those lines when you're not dragging outside the boundary, then go up here to the options bar, click on this grid icon right there, and choose Grid from that list. And you'll see all of those lines like so. And then I can just drag the crop boundary up and make sure that one of the lines is exactly aligned with the horizon. And if I've gone too far, as I have, because I'm revealing some transparent pixels up here, I'll just go ahead and drag this edge back down like so. And then when I like what I see, I'll go ahead and press the Enter key or the Return key on the Mac in order to accept that change. All right, so that's one way to work. Let me show you another. I'll go ahead and press Control-Z or Command-Z on the Mac to undo that previous change. And now I'll click and hold on this eyedropper tool just below the Crop tool, and I'll choose the Ruler tool from this flyout menu. And so it's a little bit difficult to find this tool, but let me show you why I like it better. I'll go ahead and drag along the horizon line once again. And notice, as opposed to immediately straightening the image, I now have this line that I can modify as much as I want. So that means that I can go ahead and zoom in, for example, and make sure that the line is sitting exactly on the horizon. So let's say I want it right there, over here on the right-hand side. And then I'll go ahead and flick the image over to the right until I can see the far left side of this line, and then I'll drag it into place as well. And now that I have the line exactly the way I want it, I'll press Control-0 or Command-0 on the Mac to zoom back out, and then I'll go up to the options bar and click on this button right there, Straighten Layer, and that will go ahead and straighten the image and convert it to a floating layer so that I don't permanently delete any pixels. And now, of course, I need to go ahead and tidy things up by switching back to the Crop tool and dragging these edges inward like so. So you can choose your poison. Obviously, the Ruler tool involves a little additional work because you have to go back to the Crop tool in order to put things right, but in exchange, it gives you more precise control. All right, having cropped the image the way I want it, I'll go ahead and press the Enter key or the Return key on the Mac in order to apply that change. And then I'll just go ahead and press Shift-F in order to fill the screen with the image and zoom on in. And as you can see, the result is a nicely straightened image, whether you decide to work with the Straighten tool, which is included with the Crop tool, or the Ruler tool here inside Photoshop.